So, as promised, we talked about the updates brought forth with Season 8 that weren't the greatest, and we complained a lot about them in a video. But to follow that video up, here are the top 10 Fortnite updates desperately needed that can negate all the backlash Epic are getting from these horrible updates. Many Twitch streamers going so far as to say that they're going to quit if things don't change in the current state of the game. We looked at your suggestions in the comments as well as the community suggestions on Reddit, and here's what we came up with. Be sure to use code T5G in the item shop. Did you see that new skin? Woo! That is a nice skin. I would buy that. I would definitely use code T5G while doing it if I were you. Also, join the Discord. Link is in the description below. And let's get this list. Top 5 gamers. Number 10, making some LTMs permanent. Fortnite's current LTMs are called limited time modes for a reason because, well, they're only in the game for a short amount of time. Duh, but Fortnite needs to think about making some beloved modes in the current rotation permanent. Only one mode has been made permanent in the year since LTMs were first introduced, and it was Playground. Since then, we've seen so many modes come and go like it was no one's business. The first ever LTM added was Classic 50v50, which came into the game in December of 2017, just a few months after Fortnite Battle Royale first came out. An actual rotation of LTMs wasn't added until 2 months later. A mode that a lot of players thought would be made permanent was that of Trios, which was added first into the game at the end of January 2019, except it originally was only in the game for 2 days before being pulled out. It's really frustrating when you want to play a game mode you had great fun on, and come online the next day to see it's just gone for a long time. Fortnite absolutely should consider making some LTMs, or at least the popular ones, permanent. I personally would love to be able to hop into the Floor's Lava or Team Rumble at any time I want, but there's no guarantee that I'll wake up the next morning and they'll be there waiting for me. And that's awful sometimes. Fortnite desperately needs to consider making more LTMs permanent because some people really enjoy playing those modes over the original Battle Royale. Number 9 is bringing back OG factories. One of the, you have not heard the end of this one on this channel. This is probably about the 4th time I'm saying this, but one of the greatest locations ever. My boy, the factory, was also one of the first. The Dusty Depot factory, or what most players call the OG factories, was an unnamed point of interest between Dusty Depot and Salty Springs between Season 1 and Season 4. It was one of the best spots to land for easy floor loot, equally spread out buildings, and great cover spots. For many, it was the initial location they landed on when booting up Fortnite for the very first time. Many look back upon this place with great nostalgia, and it making a return would bring a lot of the OGs back to their favorite spot. After all, Epic Games said themselves in a Reddit AMA that bringing back old locations is never off the table. Maybe we could see the factories return in the future. Would you play the game more if they did? Let us know. But in number 8, we've got the first-person mode. Are you or a friend a big fan of first-person shooters? Do you play better or enjoy a game more when having the choice between your perspective? Well, the addition of a first-person mode to Fortnite might benefit you and would be a great decision for Epic Games. Similar to PUBG, Epic could make separate lobbies for those using first-person only and the rest of players using both. A lot of players aim better when given a sight to look down rather than judging a crosshair. While those who are used to the third-person view would complain, that's why having first-person in a separate matchmaking queue could be beneficial to everyone. Funny enough, Save the World already has an optional first-person mode, but it's absolutely terrible and adds nothing. If Epic were to add a first-person mode into Battle Royale, they'd have to do it well and nothing like the current one in Save the World. Imagine how entertaining it would be to have a build battle in first-person. The suspense. Would it even work, though? Maybe not. If not first-person, then at least give us some kind of a shooting range like in Overwatch. That would be really cool. Number 7 is the improved ranked mode. Okay, so we were originally going to suggest a ranked mode to Fortnite, but they only went and added Arena into the game with version 8.2. It's a step in the right direction. However, it's not good enough and not the kind of ranked mode that a lot of players, including us, were looking for. I mean, Arena currently has a hype system, which allows players to rank up into divisions and eventually get into big competitions to win real prizes. Regardless, though, there's nothing actually that rewarding about playing Arena over casual playlists for anyone who doesn't qualify for a big league tournament. An incredible concept on Reddit posted by user Escate, which may be some form of Escadit, who knows, suggested a variety of in-game cosmetic rewards for reaching each division in rank, similar to a reward system such as ranked in Rocket League or Rainbow Six Siege, where players are given items for hitting each division, and then those items are exclusive to that season and the players who hit that rank, there isn't much incentive in Arena at all to do anything. Really, the longer queue times don't help. Hopefully, we'll see a better reward and point system in the future. But in at number 6, we've got multiple maps. A great update that Fortnite could add to absolutely spice up the game would be an entirely new second map. Epic Games told Red Bull in April of 2018 that a second map was not off the table. A second map could bring so many opportunities to Fortnite in the current meta. You could have an all-new map design with a ton of brand spanking new POIs. It would definitely allow players who are sick of places like Tilted Towers, Pleasant Park, and Fatal Fields to enjoy a fresh experience without removing those locations at all for those who like them. A second map would make Fortnite feel like a whole new game. The map is currently one of the largest aspects of the game, so a new one entirely with a different shape, possibly multiple smaller islands, would be insane. The other map could also have its own vehicles and weapons that you can only access through it and not the original map. There's a lot of opportunities with having a second map in Fortnite, and I hope that Epic Games is working on it because it's something the game desperately needs to stay up to date, especially considering how risky it is to remove some of the fan favorite locations. There's always going to be mixed thoughts, so a second map would definitely make the game fresh. But in at number 5, we've got older season game modes. A game mode that allows players to jump into older seasons would be a fantastic addition to the game and be an update that would make many players very happy. A mode to take users into the, for example, Season 1 map with only Season 1 weapons and rules would be a great way to please those who miss the old days. Epic has been experimenting with bringing back OG items, as we've seen in the classic and unvaulted LTMs. Maybe they're getting ready to eventually bring back old locations. Hopefully we see older seasons make a return in a game mode. It'll be like time traveling into the past, where you're playing Fortnite in Season 4 with your drum gun and Omega skin in Greasy Grove. What season would you want Fortnite to bring back and why? Make sure to let us know, as we'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you don't want the older seasons to come back at all, but in at number 4, we've got the projectile shot. Currently, Fortnite has 5 different kinds of grenades in the current meta: boogie bombs, stink bombs, dynamite, impulse grenades, and clingers. That's a lot of explosives, right? Well, it's hard to keep any of these in your inventory with the small amount of slots you already have. I usually use all of my grenades before the late game happens, so I'll end up with an empty slot, which I could have put a useful weapon or item in. Not only that, but it's hard to manage your inventory when you have an explosive you want taking up the space for a good weapon, especially with all the new items and features taking up more and more slots as more updates release, including glider redeploys. Explosives are good counters to builds, especially if you don't know how to compete against these people who can build a 3-story house in mere seconds, and that's why having a dedicated grenade slot in your inventory will appeal to a lot of players and allow for fairer battles between builders and campers. Fortnite should definitely consider adding an extra slot only for grenade types. Number 3 is a better anti-cheat. As Fortnite is a free-to-play game that can be downloaded by anyone with more than one account without cost, it's hard to avoid the inevitable wave of hackers and cheaters that make their way onto the game. Especially in the PC scene, there are lots of players that decide to download cheats from the internet and see how well they do in, say, a tournament. Hackers are absolutely nothing new in video games. They've been around since the dawn of time. However, Epic need to step up their anti-cheat if they're going to be cracking down on these supposed hackers. Not only that, but many players have reported getting accidentally banned for hacking when they did nothing. It seems Epic are taking anti-cheat more seriously by the day, as they recently brought a company specifically for security and have been suing hackers too. Let's hope that their systems get better and better at tracking down cheaters quickly, especially in the tournament scene. Those posers are really ruining the game. Number 2 is the shoulder swap. Shoulder swapping is a feature common in third-person shooter games in which the player can swap camera between the right shoulder view and also the left shoulder view. In Fortnite's case, the camera is glued to that right shoulder, and it can actually cause some issues. If a player is hiding behind a door but wants to see through it, however, the camera is on the right side of the player, they're not going to be able to do that, and it creates an unfair scenario for players that are hiding behind each side of the wall. A shoulder swap would let that player peek safely and add a whole other level of tactical consideration to the game. It would make players think a lot more and add a very competitive way of play. We'll have to see if Epic add the ability to switch shoulders anytime soon, because while it's a small addition, it would be an incredibly beneficial one that would level the playing field on a lot of fights. As for the honorable mentions, we've got the respawn van. A respawn van is our honorable mention in this list, as Epic Games has already announced that it's coming in the next update for the game. A respawn van would be very useful to Fortnite in the current meta, allowing much more teamwork to flow into the game and maybe promote more aggressive play without much worry of being eliminated forever. A respawn token dropped by an eliminated teammate also provides that sense of risk in running to get your team back, as well as leaving you vulnerable while putting the token into the van to respawn them. A Fortnite development update has suggested that the respawn player will be left with a few materials and basic weapons when returning to the game. So that also is a good and fair balance for anyone who might bring back a teammate into the late game. I'm excited to see the reboot van when it arrives in the game next week, and I'm sure it'll spice up the game a lot. It's a much needed change, and I can't wait. But finally, in at your number 1 spot, we've got the revert to the 8.2 Siphon changes. In Fortnite's latest major patch, Epic Games decided to remove one of the most beloved features of Fortnite in the history of the game. Right now, there is constant protests against the removal of Siphon material changes and calls to revert the decision. It's hard to miss. Almost everyone on YouTube is talking about it, and why Epic hasn't already reverted the changes considering it's been almost 2 weeks since Siphon was removed. You didn't know Siphon is a mechanic that gives you health and materials when eliminating a player. It was a very rewarding and, in my opinion, much needed feature that a lot if everyone loved, and it's now only available in the arena mode. Since the removal, the entire community has been in outrage, with the only response from Epic being that they have nothing to share yet about a possible revert. Streamers such as Ninja have been playing Uno instead of Fortnite on stream purely because of the Siphon removal, and a ton of content creators absolutely hate the state of the game without it and are entirely boycotting the game because of this. Fortnite desperately needs this revert in an update, and we can only hope it's coming soon because kills are not as rewarding or satisfying anymore, and in a lot of cases it's much needed, where in scenarios where there are 4 enemies, 3 enemies, people that play solo squads are really annoyed because they get to that last player where they could have had that shield, where they could have had mats, and they just run out. And I'm just so disappointed that the change hasn't been reverted yet. But what do you think about Siphon? Do you prefer it being only in arena, or would you rather play the game in all playlists with those health and mats upon kills available to you? I can see both sides. Again, I personally am for the changes, but what do you think? Make sure to let us know in the comments and let Epic know. Let's just spam them on Twitter. Be sure to click the like button though. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Push notifications on. Also, be sure to join the Discord. Link is in the description below, and use code T5G in the item shop whenever you purchase any new cosmetics. And keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.